I will give you 2 minutes to do this. Find somebody you don't know. 2 minutes.
Guy, you sabi me.
How y'all doing? Wrap up those introductions. Wrap up those introductions. Wrap up those introductions, and if you could find your seat. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Your introduction should be wrapped up. So now you're probably wondering why I asked you to do that, right? Yeah? All right. Whenever you've met somebody new, what do you normally do? Hi, my name is, I work for, especially at professional conferences, and my title in the company is, we do that naturally because our brains automatically go to the path of least resistance. Now this conference is about rethinking learning. So one of the things that we have to start doing is thinking against the path of least resistance. I just demonstrated to you, one, I gave you an option. You had 2 options. I could do the PowerPoint presentation, or I can free flow speak. And you have an option. Now, most of you said one or the other. Why didn't you ask for both? I could have made it work. So when you start rethinking learning, when you start thinking, you've got to readjust your brain and challenge your brain to do something new. I never said you couldn't have both. You just assumed that you can only have one or the other because I said it. All of you in here, anytime you're past 2 years, 3 years in the L&D space, you have the ability to be innovative with the solutions that you provide for the people that you care about. The reason why I've been doing L&D for 28 years is because I love the people that I get to interact with. I want them to be their best. I want them to have the best opportunities. So I'm always using my brain in a creative way to find, how do I get past their limitation? One of the things I heard people say is this: we don't have enough time. Show of hands. You've been here for 4 or 5 hours, yeah? How often has your brain slipped and you've gone to some new place? What you can eat tonight, what you can wear to go out. I have a message on my phone. Or just like, you just disappeared. You just disappeared, you don't even know where you went to, and then a couple minutes later, the answer that you were looking for is completely, stop talking. They're gone. You don't have that answer. It's not that you don't have time, you don't have focus, right? It's neurologically proven that every human mind on the face of this earth slips every 30 seconds. Your brain is slipping and going somewhere else. So for me, for example, I do meditation. You want a practical way to get more time? The Bible says pray. For those of you who are prayers, for those people who don't do praying, meditation, if you do both, it's fabulous. But you have to train your mind and train your people on how to focus. So that's one of the tips that you want to do for time. It's not you're out of time, it's you're not focused. There's a study in America, and I think it applies everywhere, where they say in an 8.5-hour day, you're actually only productive 2 to 3 hours. That's it. And I bet you if you actually go on Monday morning, practically, and just track for the day how much time you're actually being productive. Productivity means you're putting out product, not answering emails, not talking at the water cooler, not taking bathroom breaks, not staring at the ceiling. Me, it is the YouTube cat video wizardry that I end up down, or like the ratchet fights on United States where they're fighting in the streets. Somehow that just entertains me, and I'm gone for hours. And then I'm like, boy, my clients are gonna be mad at me because I got nothing done today. It's not that you're out of time, you just don't have the focus. So how do you get focused? Now, when you're in this situation, so let me be honest, people standing on the stage is boring. It's cognitive overload. It is, right? So the reason why I get you to stand up and have the conversation with each other is that I need to get you energized. So I'm gonna get you to do something else. Stand again. Come on, the food is setting in deep in your stomach. Stand again. When you're doing your training and development events, Have some kind of physical activity. I don't care what it is. Power pose. Stretch your arms. Afrobeat dance, whatever the dance that you love to do, do something. Shake something, wiggle something. You always want to have a kinetic component to rethinking learning. When your body gets involved, your brain gets involved even differently. So you want to do that. Don't ever have somebody sitting for 5, 6, 7, 8 hours straight. Somebody was mentioning Zoom fatigue. Legitimate thing. You're there. And I'm like, why am I cross-eyed? Why am I cross-eyed in this? Why? I can't do with this. You go to your bed, you're tired. So you want people to stand up, even if they don't like it. Get them to move. Get them to move. Look around, everybody. Why is everybody waving their hand? I never asked you to. Rethink how you do things. So this is the next point. We do follow the leader all the time. You guys stood up because I asked you to stand. You could have been rebellious and said, no, I don't want to. I saw you, but then what happened? Peer pressure? Yeah! So as L&D professionals, this is another tool, practical tool. In our space, we tell people what to do. Follow the process. Follow the pattern. Set it up this way. Set it up that way, because every organization does it the exact same way. And we follow the leader, but we're not leading. And here's the thing. There are companies that are actually leading, and y'all can sit down now. I'm like, y'all so good. You could have sat down long. In church, I would have sat down a long time, because when the preacher says, I soon finish, I'm like, you're going to be there for another 2 hours. So here's the fun part. We follow processes. Do you have my presentation by any chance? Do you have my presentation? Adimola would have given it to you? By any chance? I don't see, yes? Sorry, okay, hi, good morning, good evening, all of you up there. I ask a question, nobody will answer me yet, not even a nod. Do you have my presentation by any chance? Can you put it up on the screen for me? Next. 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 Keep going. 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 Stop. Everything that you just saw, I used ChatGPT, prompted it. Every image that you see, mid-journey. So I'm going to say a scary statement to you all wonderful L&D people if you don't start rethinking learning. It took me literally 30 seconds to create the prompt, and then it took it 2 minutes to create the PowerPoint presentation in AI. The visuals, it took me a little bit longer because I wanted to play in the space. 15 minutes. My entire presentation was done in 20 minutes or less. If you're just creating rote thinking, you will be replaced in anywhere from 2 months to 2 years. I don't mean to scare you. I really don't. But if you don't start rethinking how you approach learning, you will lose your job. So how do we change this? Does anybody know the ABCD model? I heard a yes. She's like, no, I don't know, don't call me. No, put me on the spot. No, I'll be on the spot. A, audience. B, behavior. C, condition. D, degree. Whenever you are building your training, right? If you're in the L&D space, you're building a training program. I know it's not about just training, but if you're going to build a learning solution, you need to know who your audience is, correct? Right? So this morning I sat here. I could have presented like you guys, like I know who you are already, but I didn't. I just listened. Behavior, what do I want you to do? I need you to stand. I need you to laugh. I need you to move. I need you to introduce. What conditions do I have to give you? I got to ask you to do certain things, and I know for those who don't want to cooperate, peer pressure will come and get them. And then D, degree. How much energy, how much focus do I need to have? So I move across the stage, I get you to stand, I get you to sit. I tell you, you're not going to focus more than 30 seconds, and I come across the stage, and I'm making eye contact with as many people as possible. Audience, behavior, condition, degree. That's the exact same thing as a prompt engineer. When the best prompts to make the content in the AI space, if you understand your audience, hi ChatGPT. I need you to, and Oliver did it this morning, I want you to create a story for the audience, a Nigerian audience. I can be even more specific, the Igbo, right? I can be very specific, who have these cultural traditions or this age range. that they are young professionals or they are the aunties and the uncles of the community. If I have a study, like a PDF study, I can put it into ChatGPT version number 4 right now. It'll get the information directly from that study. So I can say, for the audience of the elders, I want you to write a way to convince them that it's very important for them to get jiggy with the newest technology. They don't even have a cell phone, don't even know how to turn it on, never seen one in their life, but I want you to do that for me because I've got the study. So when you're building your training, we talk about personalized learning, which is the next piece. Each and every single person in this room right now can use ChatGPT. If you've got company proprietary software or training, you can put it into ChatGPT if you've got a PDF of it, and you can say, for this particular group in my organization, I want you to create a training program. I want you to create 3 to 5 learning objectives. I want them to be able to increase their sales productivity, their product development, their procurement processes based on our standard behavior. I want you to be able to divide it into micro-learning, 5-minute bites of learning. I want you to tell me what's the best method for this to happen based on our current training module, the PDF I'm giving it. And I want it to have this potential outcome. So for sales, I want to increase sales by 10%. 30 seconds to 2 minutes later, ChatGPT has spit out the entire training program for you. The entire training program. So do we not have enough time? Can we not do personalized training programs for every person in the industry that you work with? You don't even have to be an expert in it. If you don't have the PDF, you go to your subject matter experts within your organization and you get them to write down what are your best techniques and practices. Take a week, then watch them, get them to do their job so you can validate what they wrote is actually legitimate, true. Put it in a PDF, put it in a ChatGPT, $20 a month. It's really worth buying, okay? Really, really worth investing in. And then you go and buy one of the AIs that creates a presentation if you want to, or now they've got e-learning immediately built modules. That's where technology is right now. ChatGPT's IQ was 155. Einstein's IQ was 160. In one iteration from 3.5 to 4.0, it went from being the average human being to one of the smartest. They're saying within the next 2 months, its IQ will be 1,600 smarter than any one of us. Get that thing to be your friend. Right? Sometimes I'll talk to my cell phone when it's acting up on my computer, my MacBook. I'm like, baby, please work for mommy today. You need to start rub down ChatGPT and tell you, give us some answers for this. Because then you're not out of time. And you're creating solutions. So, other thing that I'm going to say is this. And what's my time count? Am I good? Somebody monitoring this time? Okay, whatever. I'll keep going until they pull me off the stage. Okay? All right. I'm going to ask you a question. If you could make your company $12 million net profit or 44.6 net profit USD, which one would you prefer? Nobody, you're the only one. You like the 44, you and I can talk. The rest of them like, you don't want to make your company $44.6 million. All right. So for those of you who say you want a seat at the table, how do you get there? I'm going to tell you the number one thing you want to do. Know your numbers. At the end of the day, for-profit companies are there to make a profit. Period. Not-for-profits, they're there because they want to make impact so that their sponsors who are trying to make money get the warm, heart-feeling stories about how they made impact in the wonderful world of whoever they're trying to save, so that their board and stakeholders be like, pat on the back, we'll continue to give you more money. It boils down to money. You need to know your numbers. You have to know your numbers. So you have to read key performance indicators. What is the numbers that they're trying to get? What kind of dollars they're going to get? And then start tracking it. And then reverse engineer your training programs to specifically make sure that you're hitting those numbers. If I come in here and ask L&D professionals, y'all should know your numbers. You have to know your numbers. As a person who said, again, math was not my thing. But I know my numbers. How did I make a company $44.6 million? Do you want to know? Practically? Okay. I don't create curriculum. ChatGPT right now has already proven that I don't do it. I create holistic learning experiences. What does that entail? Number one, I get everybody to play. And I mean play, like literally. Have you ever seen children playing with a new thing? hours. They love whatever it is that they're doing when they're fully engrossed and engaged in it for hours. They're never tired. They don't want to go to bed. They want to continue to play with their favorite toy. Get your people to play. Number 2, you got to get them to play in the space that they're not comfortable in. I tell anybody when I'm about to build training, I'm about to hurt your brain, and I don't apologize. Here's why. The reason why I got you to introduce yourselves differently is that you're so used to one pathway. If I need to break the neurons in your brain to set up a different pathway, this is neurological science, it's how your brain works. If you want a new solution, you've got to break the old patterns of thinking. That hurts, literally hurts. It gives you a headache. So when you're learning something new, you're like, this is too painful for me. You're actually learning. This is a wonderful thing. You are learning because your brain is hurting. So you want to actually cause your people pain. And I know for some of us it's a lot of fun to do that. Others like, no, but for me, I love causing my teams pain. Here's why. If I'm going into an organization and the standard behavior is going to create $12 million, I cannot use the standard behavior. Right? That doesn't make any sense. So if the company currently has estimated, and so the company I was working for was an insurance company, which is why I said insurance is boring. And it's one of the most difficult things to learn because it is super boring, like contracts and contract agreements and blah, blah, and you can't hit and if you hit this person this way and blah, blah, really annoying. So you spend 10 days learning the most soul-sucking, boring material on the face of the earth. How do you make that exciting? You can't. It's the least sexy industry on the face, and I don't care how much I pretty it up, it is the least sexy industry on the face of the earth. So how do you get people to enjoy that? So first and foremost, I cut out all the fluff. We writing these beautiful sentences, the, thus, and comma, and blah. I am the queen of bullets. 5 words or less. Your human mind is so smart, it'll fill in the words. You don't need to put it on there. Bullet it and cut it out. I have taught this to companies so frequently that now when they go to do procurement things, they'll hear my voice in their head nagging them, get rid of the fluff, get rid of the fluff, get rid of the fluff. Their presentations and their procurement and their proposals that they're submitting for whatever job they're trying to get to. So for example, I work with S&C Lavendale, which is an engineering company. Their presentations for bids are so beautiful now that they're actually winning more bids and charging more money because they've gotten rid of all the fluff. So when you're building your learning experiences, 1, get them to play. Number 2, get rid of all the fluff. Number 3, get to the point as quickly as possible. Number 4, create the heart story. Humans do not operate on logic. I don't care. I'm an analytical driver. That's the whatever analysis type. But that's not what gets me to move. That's not what gets you to connect. It's the emotions. You're going to give people emotional connection. Do you know how I make insurance sexy? You're protecting people's dreams. Imagine if somebody you love is driving down the highway and they have a terrible accident. Their spine has to be fused together. And because of the ignorance of an insurance broker not knowing how to do their job properly, they have no coverage. This person cannot walk again. They can't move. And we can make sure that you don't do the same thing. So will you be willing to spend 5 days with me and focus? I heard it. Who said yes? Right? Emotion. All of you right now, when I said that loved one, your heart, you thought about somebody either you love, or some of you may have thought of somebody you hate, but you wish that they actually had the accident and their spine was fused together. Those people, okay, yeah, you're special. But you have that emotional tug. So when you're rethinking your learning, you actually need to bring the emotion back. I grew up in an era that they're like, no emotions allowed at work, we're professionals in here. So you want me to turn off my entire heart and leave it at the door before I come into work? How's that going to work? With my personality? Fire me, I'm leaving. It's just not going to happen. But every person that you know, they have emotions. And you have to get that emotional connection in order for them to want to do the work. If there's no emotional connection or passion, they will not perform optimally. In my team, I don't actually try to train people who have weaknesses. I hire for weaknesses. I only focus on passion and strengths and put together effective teams that work well together. And the reason why I do that is because I understand if the teams are not gelled together, working together, following their passion, they are not going to perform optimally. So when I start rethinking learning, this whole idea of like just, get them a whole round, no. Who says somebody has to be an all-rounder? Right? Kobe Bryant. Bulls camp Buck dunks. He dunks all the time. They will train, literally, they trained 6 people on a team to try to stop him from dunking, and he had his highest dunk game. Folks, because that's all he works on. He knows he's got his other team members to rely upon. So as L&D professionals, that you're thinking about it, when you're building these learning experiences, build a whole, we talk about communities of practice, right? That's your community. Give them the emotional tug, whatever that is. Why are you doing what you do? Why are you here? I mean, you didn't come down here like you didn't have nothing else to do on a Saturday. There's got to be something better going on, but you're here because you love what you do. You wouldn't sit in this audience for this long. So give your people something to love what they do. The last thing that I did in order to get the $44 million in that productivity was I made sure everybody had a challenge, always. There's this wonderful thing called dopamine. It gives you a high. You want to know why somebody will go from like being a very calm, regular person and they'll jump out of a plane and you're like, yo. And when some of these people go hug lions, I'm like, I'm sorry. It's only a white person who do those things, right? Like, what are you going to hug lions for? Forgive me. There's white people here, please forgive me. But the ones who I see get nammed by lions is usually Caucasian skinned. So why do they do this? Why do they escalate? Why does somebody start with a normal addiction then escalate? It's because they're looking for a dopamine hit. So you want to make sure that individuals, in a dopamine hit can happen in a negative capacity or in a positive capacity. The brain doesn't know the difference. So when I say I hurt them, I hurt their brain when they're learning, it's because I want to give them a dopamine hit that gives them a high, that makes them want to continue to perform and do the best that they can. People are like, we can't make people manipulate people all the time. You don't see all these people, on TV, the hypnotists getting people to, cluck like a chicken and do all kind of stuff. People are susceptible to certain information. And if you're trying to benefit them, then give them those dopamine hits. A job shadow. Your bosses may sit there, CEO of a company, I totally understand why I'm like, no, you can't, no, because productivity, but we already proved in here, your brain is wandering, you probably have anywhere from 2 to 3 hours of focus. That's it. So if I go to a company and say, hey, if you give me 1 extra hour a week, or half a day once a week, or half a day once a month, or half a day once every 3 months, and I get to take the team and get everybody to do a job shadow of somebody else, learn something new, then they can learn something about that team, or a mastermind, get everybody from different teams together, not working on a professional project. Something playful, something fun. Have you ever seen the connect the dots, but everybody stays within the square, but then you realize you can go outside of the square? Once you go outside of the square, then it's easy to solve that puzzle going forward. And it was somebody who you've never seen it before, but somebody demonstrated it to you, so now you can never unsee it. Masterminds. Somebody in the group will say something to trigger you to think about something different. So create a think tank or a mastermind, because you want that creativity, you want those juices flowing to solve some of the most complex problems. And sometimes you don't even have to create it as a complex problem. How do we bake a better cake? Right? I can translate that to anything in this world. It's ingredients, it's materials, it's people, it's tools. Everything in this world falls onto it. So you get them to play it, and then you're like, how do you translate that to your work environment? Rethink learning. You've heard it all. Rethink learning. It's not, there's systems in place, but here's the last thing I want to tell everybody that I'm going to quickly, I don't know if my time it is. 5 minutes? Beautiful. If you give your teams this opportunity, I promise you they'll love you for it. They won't like you immediately. As a Christian, we always hear that God chastises his children for their benefit. You don't like the chastisement in the moment, but it actually makes you a better person. Our job is not to be liked. Our job is to help every individual be a better person, because their jobs are going to be replaced. In Canada, North America, and across the world, IT jobs are dropping like flies. They're cutting staff 15, 20%. Every week it's a new announcement. Do you know who they're keeping? Only the best of the best. How did the best of the best become the best? They played in the space. In Google Space, 20% of their time is in play. That's how we got Gmail. How many of you got Gmail? That's from playing. So you want to create think tanks. Get the people to come together. Play in a new space. Give them something not work related. I don't care what it is. Give them something strange. Give them something foreign. Give them something weird. I don't care what it is. Get them to play with different ideas. And then when you get them to play with different ideas, then you ask them at the end, how do you think you can apply anything you just learned today on whatever problem, situation, or circumstance that you're currently facing, right? It gets the brain thinking differently. It gets the wires in the brain connecting to different things, and new innovation pops up out of that, right? Last but not least, and this is important, if you all aren't playing regularly, doing something new, different, regularly, do not go back and ask your staff to do any of that. Don't be a hypocrite. If you can't go and play and you learn something new and have some fun, and then you're going to tell your staff and tell the people in your organization that they got to go do it, monkey see, monkey do, right? That's what they used to say. I don't think any of your staff are monkeys, so if you're recording this, that's not what I'm calling any of you. But we used to say, my mother has this saying, and I can't remember right now, it's a Jamaican saying, but something along the lines of, do what I say, don't do what I do. That don't work. We know that doesn't work. Children from the beginning, they mimic what you do. All your staff are your beautiful children, that you want them to be successful individuals in life. Demonstrate these ideas. If you've always thought a particular way, every 3 months, ask yourself this question. This is how I'm going to end. Why do I do what I do in that order? Myers-Briggs, analytical driver IJ double XYK. Do you know that the person who wrote that was a Caucasian male, based on another Caucasian male's philosophy, based on another Caucasian male's philosophy? So here's the fun part. Am I Caucasian? How do we learn? Through our songs, our stories, our passion, our energy, our lifestyle. So when you tell me I'm an analytical driver, am I really an analytical driver? Just because somebody labeled me that, just because I gave you option number 1 or number 2 does not mean there's not an option number 3 or number 4. And you'll discover those options the more you play, the more you have fun, the more you enjoy, the more you rethink. Is the thing that I'm doing, why am I doing what I'm doing? And is this really the best way to do it?
Sorry.
Companies like ChatGPT said, is Google search really the best way to do it? And how many million? 120 million people signed up in 2 months?
Here is she.
Why are you doing what you're doing? And it could be right. Your processes and your procedures could be right. But just every once in a while, go back and question, is this the best way to train my team? Is this the best way for us to create creative ideas and energy? Dream as big as you want. And then we come back to earth and be very practical about how we execute those dreams. Step number 1, strategic planning. You do this, you do this, you do this, action plan. Cool? And I think if I can, does anybody have one question, or a gentleman's going to come?
Well, let's have two. What? You want
2?
Me, want me there?
I don't know. Do you? I don't know. 2 questions. I will answer 2 questions. Does anybody have any questions? What? No questions for me? I can go sit in my seat. I've left you speechless. Okay.
Exactly.
I have burnt out your brain cells. I do know information. How many of your brains are hurting right now? Plus, she's just like asking me too
gentleman
much.
up there. Can you raise your hand? Thank you.
Okay. And I will be succinct in my answer, because I can be.
Let's identify the second question.
Yeah, thank you. Can you hear me?
Who's the second? Okay, I'll get this to you. Go ahead.
Okay. Before now, I was in a conference where we got introduced to ChatGPT. So seeing the way it displayed, the whole thing seemed eerie to me. Like I was literally, having trepidations on my seat. So don't you think we are giving too much to technology? And why am I saying this? The last time on CNN, I saw a broadcast where artificial technology created an image of smoke, coming out of the White House. Mm-hmm. Don't you think it's dangerous?
Absolutely. Want to know why? Because the people who are actually programming are not programming it for good. Isn't it interesting on YouTube when you start watching like one negative thing, it automatically feeds you another negative thing and another do you know what that is? That's actually AI. That's an algorithm that says, hey, they were interested in this negative thing, and so we're going to continue to give you negative things. But if you actually go in, so for example, my YouTube, if you look at it, it doesn't give me any negativity. I've actually been programming it over the last 6 months, every day. I don't watch anything ratchet. I used to, like I watch like rap videos and like Cardi B and all kind of stuff, and like I'm Christian, but you know, sometimes I dip a little, so. Okay, God's still working on me, pray for me. So, but then I realized the algorithm is paying attention to what I'm doing, and I also know the algorithm is biased. It wants to keep me ignorant, it wants to keep me stupid, and let's be honest, it wants to keep me ignorant and stupid because I'm black. I live in Canada, I'm telling you the truth. And I have enough friends who work with algorithms to know that I'm actually speaking truth. That's why in China, you will never see a viral video of people dancing. Because China's algorithms are always STEM, STEAM, that's it. You have to be a triple threat in order for you to go. So it's got to be an engineering solution, a technology solution, a science solution. But they control what's happening in North America and everywhere else in the world. And all you see is people doing, okay, how are we going to get brilliant off of that? So yes, you need to be afraid, but here's the thing. It's still an infancy learning stage. So what answers and what tips are you giving it? What prompts are you giving it? If I give it the right prompts, it will give me the right stuff. It is literally going to be smarter than any one of us. So when you train up a child in the way that they grow so they will not depart, train up your AI because it's still a child. So that when it's older, it will not give you things like Donald Trump being arrested. CN Tower the other day, I saw it and I said, boy, I'm glad I know how this thing makes these images, because if I didn't, I'd be like, CN Tower is burning to the ground because they had a meteorite hit CN Tower. And I was tempted to go outside and look. And then I was like, oh, there's a couple of flaws in this. So you got to know. So yes, be afraid, but it's like a child. Do you train your child to do bad? And this is not like human children, because sometimes you can train them to do good and they're just, something happened. Something happened and they're gone. Train up your child in the way that it should grow. Train up your AI in the way it should go, that when it's old, it will not depart, it'll take care of you. Yeah?
That was very succinct. Thank you. I said that was very succinct. But we have one more question. Gentleman there.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go. Real quick, let's make it quick because we are
And
out of
we'll
time.
answers.
Okay, quick one. What's the acceptability rate of AI, ChatGPT? To most companies, they see it as something new. For other organizations, they don't want to, move from the traditional aspect of L&D, rethink learning, to ChatGPT. I might lose my job, like you rightly said. And when you're moving into the development phase, what is the future of, let me say, in this whole L&D with the adoption of, AI? So that's my question. What is the acceptability level of this? Is it going to fail us? Will it be acceptable by organizations? Will it be acceptable by us L&D specialists? Because if AI can do a presentation for like 30 minutes, when you take hours or days or months to prepare a slide, what is our own future as L&D specialists? That was my question. Thank you.
Yeah, so transparently, you should be afraid if you're just doing traditional thinking. Let's be honest, right? So beginning of industrial horses and carriage back in the day. Cars came about. How many are still riding horses? Now with the gas prices being what they are, you might want to jump back on a horse, right? But cars replaced. You will be replaced if you, and there's my last, it's already gone. My last one, have you ever seen Star Trek? Anybody in here? Borg? Yes. Resistance is futile? Has anybody ever seen the episode with Captain Picard in it? For those of you who don't know what this is, then I'm so sorry, but I'll try to break it down really quickly. Captain Picard is the captain of the Starship Enterprise. He gets captured by the Borg. The Borg are cybernetic individuals who say literally everyone has to think the same. So when they capture you, they replace half your human parts with robotic parts, and then they give you a part of the hive collective. You have to think exactly the same. Now let me say something to you. Most of us who are repeating all the same organizational behaviors, we're already a part of a Borg. You have to do it this way. How did Captain Picard, how did he win? And so like 2 or 3 episodes. At the end, Captain Picard found a loophole. And the loophole was a command called sleep. Sometimes when you want to stay away from a thing because you're afraid of the thing, you're worried about it, If you don't get close enough to it, you won't find out what the loopholes are to use it through your advantage. And your competitors will. We are in a global market. So as much as we want to hit in here and say, I'm not using it, I'm not touching it because it's going to replace me, if you become an effective prompt engineer, audience, behavior, condition, decree, the 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 8 months of development to build a training program cuts down to 2. What other training can you do? Can you create now a personalized learning plan for every person in your organization if you're not spending 6 to 8 weeks building one standard cover the medium people training program? I literally in this room can go in and start doing an assessment on every single one of you and in a week have your own personal trajectory. What company would fire me if I can give them a personal trajectory for every staff member that they have to improve their performance by 10, 15, 20%? My job's safe.
Yeah, definitely.
That's how I made a company $44 million. Because they had an entire division, and they had a whole training and development division. When I got there, and I'm going to finish, when I got there, their top performer said, there's no way she can improve. I've been doing this for 10 years. How many of you hear that? We've been doing it the same way for Okay. I have a letter in I have it called a red book where I put all my successes. I have her letter in there. It has been an absolutely awesome experience working with Claudette. She has improved her pass rate was 85. That literally across Canada is one of the best pass rates ever. Her pass rate now is 99. The company only wanted 80 employees over 3 to 5 years to work in the call center based on their data analysis. 268 people were hired in 18 months. They expected to make the $12 million of net profit in 3 to 5 years. The $44.6 million that I made them, they had it in 18 months. Who calls me constantly?
Ladies and gentlemen, make it bigger. Thank you very much, Claudette. That was beautiful. We touched on everything from Naruto to psychology to even Star Trek. I can't believe we managed to put all of that in there, but that was beautiful. Thank you. And you can tell by the round of applause that was fantastic. Really did enjoy that.